Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is Plants vs. Zombies in a quote-unquote new jacket. As someone who has only played Plants vs. Zombies Game of the Year edition before playing this game, this is a very nice way to keep in touch with the franchise. The servers are still surprisingly active, even though there's pretty much only 1 or 2 game modes you will mostly encounter. I love the variety within species, as well as the addition of new plant and zombie types. The new zombie types fit right in, but I did have to get used to the new plant types a lot. They look very different from the other designs. The shooter part of the game is actually quite enjoyable and feels solid. It's fun to do what the plants did in Game of the Year edition in first person. There's a little bit of everything in here, so anybody who likes Plants vs. Zombies will have something to enjoy. I haven't seen much of story mode yet, but I do want to play through that sometime. Overall, a very solid game from the Plants vs. Zombies franchise. Definitely get this when it's on sale. Kindom Classic is a very addicting free introduction to the Kindom franchise. It shows you the base mechanics quite well and then lets you explore the rest of its content without any hand-holding. Getting to Night 100 was definitely a challenge, and I still have a bunch of smaller achievements to get. The speedrunning achievements are definitely the hardest to get, and if you are like me and want to 100% games, I recommend using a guide for this. I love the art style, and can we talk about how pretty the library icon is for this game? The content itself is quite interesting, and defeating the greed is a nice challenge. It's a very good strategy game that you can easily sink many hours into. Overall, I only have good things to say about Kindom Classic, and after playing this, I bought the rest of Kindom's franchise. I have much love for this game. Kindom Two Crowns is everything Kindom Classic was, but better and also multiplayer. I loved playing this together instead of by myself like Classic, since you can get so much more done in one day than when you're by yourself. I love the Norselands DLC and also can't wait for the Call of Olympus DLC to come out. The one thing I do have to note is that this game has too little handholding. You basically get thrown into the game with no real explanation of what your end goal is, so prepare to be confused at the start. I tried looking for a good Steam guide for this game in English, but none of them were what I was looking for, so I might make one of my own in the near future. I recommend using the wiki if you get really stuck. What I do like is the amount of extra content Two Crown has, like the challenge islands. I love this game and I highly recommend playing this one after Classic with someone else. We Become What We Behold is an interesting, interactable, short game that is mostly a political statement about how media influences people. It shows the negative cycle of how media can portray and/or interpret things wrong and induce anger, sadness, and fear in people. After playing through this, I remembered how important it is to keep an eye on your mental health and that you should not feel bad if you need to step away from reading or watching the news for a while. I highly recommend people play through this free interactive media to spread more awareness about this topic. Lightyear Frontier is still in early access, yet already feels very polished in what it has to offer currently. I did not encounter any bugs and multiplayer works very well too. I'm usually not a big fan of open world sims, but this one managed to hook me right into it. I think part of why that happened is that the gameplay is very balanced between story progression and free roaming. The main storyline is very fun to complete, yet does not require massive grinding apart for a few mech upgrades. All other upgrades are easy to get in free roaming time and are purely quality of life improvements like a better hose for farming. The free roam aspect is quite nice since there are not really any moments where you are locked out of being able to do whatever you want, with the exception of one area. Basically, you can progress as fast or as slowly as you want in this game without any repercussions. I like the animal feeding system a lot. Feeding the animals will regenerate any resources in the area, and I think that's a clever way of going about it. For now, I've seen all there is to do in the game, but I'm looking forward to new things being added to the game in the future. Mirth Melody is a very cute, cozy rhythm game that consists of 3 songs, playable on 2 difficulties, and a seagull you can interact with that will tell you fun things about objects you bring him. This definitely feels like a demo for the game Mirth Island, even though it is not said outright that it is. The last song, which is more of a rock song, does not really fit with the cozy theme, but is a banger nonetheless. The only negative thing I have to say about this free demo is that there is no sound settings. You cannot turn down the in-game volume. I did apply for the Mirth Island playtest, so if I get invited to that, I will review that as well. There will apparently also be an update soon enough, which will fix some issues and later on add more content to the game. Once more content has been added, I will definitely return to Mirth Melody. Monster Hunter Rise has a very high skill floor and can be quite difficult to get into. I recommend either watching some YouTube videos on this game or play with friends to lower that skill floor. Once you get the hang of the game a bit though, Rise is a very enjoyable game. The different monsters are fun to get the hang of, there's a bunch of extra quests to do beside the main hub and village quests, and there is a lot of different things to do aside from hunting monsters. Lately, this has been one of my favorite games to play with my friends. I'm very glad I gave this game another chance, and in my opinion it's worth the high skill floor. Fighting all of the different monsters is really fun and satisfying. I love that there's 2 different ways of ending the mission aside from failing. You can either kill or capture the monster you're fighting. This and the amount of different monsters change up the game a bit and make sure it doesn't get too repetitive. Unlocking new armor and weapons as a result really helps with the feeling of progression. I haven't gotten to the Sunbreak DLC yet, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. I'm definitely going to put a lot more hours in this game. Alright, I love Risk of Rain 2 a lot, but for the love of God, please don't get this DLC right now. Gearbox messed up big time. Luckily, they're trying to at least put out some fixes, but the game is still not in a good state. DLC survivors mechanics don't work properly, and existing survivors have gotten messed up. Some of the animations look very off, and there's a bunch of other stuff wrong with the game after this DLC came out. At least the new maps and new survivor skins are pretty, but I would have rather had a more polished yet delayed release than whatever this was. Watch any of the many YouTube videos on this topic if you want a more in-depth look of what's wrong with the game. It's very, very sad how Gearbox has been treating the franchise, but I'm happy they're starting to fix their mistakes. As of now though, until things are properly fixed, do not buy. Right now I am playing with an extensive mod list to counter all the new problems that were introduced to the game, but I don't recommend people do the same as me. That's all games I played in August. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to support me, like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Stay safe and have a wonderful rest of your day.